Hello everyone, this is Haidar Al-Qasir talking to you. We are going to have a lecture now, and that is about IELTS writing. Okay. Everyone, this is Haidar Al-Qasir talking to you. We are going to have a lecture now, and that is about IELTS writing. Okay. We are starting in 5 minutes, so if you have questions, please prepare them. We are going to have a lecture now, and that is about IELTS writing. Okay. We are starting in 5 minutes, so if you have questions, please prepare them. In 5 minutes, we are going to start. If you have any questions about the writing, our lecture will be about writing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to prepare them. In 5 minutes, we are going to start. If you have any questions about the writing, our lecture will be about writing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to prepare them. Okay, now I'm going to start talking about writing. That is up to the voting that we made on my Telegram channel, that the percentage was 37% for writing, 35% for speaking, and 28% for reading. So we are going to take writing. We will talk about writing module, and our lecture will be about how to write an essay, and we are going to take an example how to improve your essay. And 28% for reading. So we are going to take writing. We will talk about writing module, and our lecture will be about how to write an essay, and we are going to take an example how to improve your essay. Okay. How to write an essay, and that is the most important thing. We will talk about how to write an essay by the shape, not by the content. Firstly, we write an essay by using the indented Y, not the block. In the indented Y, we leave a space of 2 words of the first line for each paragraph in our essay. While in the block Y, we leave a space of 2 words of the first line for the first paragraph only. Then in the other paragraphs, we just start from the very first beginning of the line. Nota bene, which means a very important note. If you use both Ys in one essay, you might be deducted a lot of points. It's better and more skillful to use the indented Y. Okay, what's an essay consisted of? It's consisted of prologue, or which we call the introduction, a plot, and what we also call the body, epilogue, the conclusion. Things to avoid using in the essay. Do not use I, my, we, our, and the body. It's better not to do that. Don't use every, something, no, something, or something, because they mean an absolute case, and that is impossible. You may use a huge number of something, a lot of something, or any suitable use instead. Do not give any percentage or any specific number without relating it to an actual study, survey, or report. And that is really important. Number 4, which is not written here, I'm going to say it orally. Sorry. Okay. Do not abbreviate while writing. Do not use short forms in writing. Okay. Now, if you have this statement, Many museums charge for admission while others are free. And it's followed by this question: do you think the advantages of charging people for admission to museums outweigh the disadvantages? The first thing we will do is that we are going to start with which we call the introduction. How to write the introduction, and that is really important. Okay. The first thing we will do is that, and that is the ideal essay. We are going to paraphrase the statement. The statement says many museums charge for admission while others are free. We are going to paraphrase it. Paraphrasing means rewriting it, in other words, giving the same precise meaning. So it will be some museums have an admission charge while some do not. Then after that, we will answer the question here. The question says, do you think the advantages of charging people for admission to museums outweigh the disadvantages? We will start with saying our opinion, an expression which means our opinion. For example, in my opinion, in my point of view, as I believe, or something like that. The drawbacks, which means the disadvantages of an entrance fee, are eclipsed. Eclipsed means covered by its benefits. In the sense, then after that, we give reasons. In the sense that the income will be plowed back into operation and development of the museums. That is a full thesis statement for the introduction. That means it's a perfect introduction. Let me repeat. How to write the introduction. If you have this statement and followed by this question, the first thing you will do is that you will paraphrase the statement. That means rewrite it, in other words, giving the same precise meaning. After that, you say your opinion. An expression means your opinion. Then you answer the question with reasons. Now, some museums have an admission charge while some do not. In my opinion, the drawbacks of an entrance fee are eclipsed by its benefits, in the sense that the income will be plowed back into operation and development of the museums. That is a perfect introduction for my essay. Okay, now let's come to the second step. In the second step, we are going to write the body. The body is divided into two paragraphs. One of the paragraphs to be with your opinion and one to be the opposite of your opinion. How to write the paragraph? That is the question. We start the paragraph with a main idea. The main idea of the paragraph then is followed by 2 or 3 sentences. Those sentences answer the questions how and why to the main idea. Then after that, we write an example, and that is a full, perfect paragraph. For example, we started with the disadvantages here. A major disadvantage of an admission fee is the possibility of reducing the number of visitors, and that is the main idea of the paragraph. Now we come to explain how and why. Museums house exhibitions and artifacts of a great educational and historical value. If the chief aim of a museum is to introduce the local community, admission should be free to the public and visitors. We finished answering the question how and why. Now we come to the example. Take some folk museums in Hong Kong which preserve historic relics and display folk customs. For example, admission to these folk museums, which are often monuments, is free of charge. If they had charged an entrance fee, many might have turned to other activities. We finished the first paragraph of the body. Let's move to the next paragraph of the body, which says, the opposite of the first paragraph, also the same thing. Main idea, answering the 2 questions, how and why, then giving an example. Granted, an entrance fee might have a negative effect on the admission figures. but an income is favorable to museums in terms of operation. Museums feature educational exhibitions at times, and this could not have been done without a sum of money expended on hiring professionals and buying equipment. The Hong Kong Space Museum, for instance, has monthly exhibitions on different issues, and professional docents are employed to take visitors on a guided tour around the museum. This example speaks volumes about how a reasonable admission charge is advantageous to the operation of a museum. We finished the body. After the body, we move to the conclusion. The first thing we start with is to write an expression to show that this is the conclusion. For example, in conclusion, to conclude, something like that. Here, we wrote in conclusion. In the conclusion, we repeat our opinion here. How we answered the first question. If you remember here, when we said the drawbacks of an entrance fee are eclipsed by its benefits, we rewrite it here. But in other words, the disadvantages of an admission fee are overshadowed by the benefits occurring from a stable source of income. Then we write some expression like this one. Therefore, having weighed up the pros and cons, I'm convinced that. Here, I wrote it to restate my opinion and to give my opinion as I recommend for something. Museums should charge an entrance fee. Then we give reasons. The same reasons we wrote, we repeat. For the sake of operation and development. Here, this piece of writing is 9 out of 9. It's a real perfect one. Why? I answered the question, I developed my idea, and I did what is required here. Besides, I used some certain words that raised my score. For example, let's come here. Drawbacks, entrance, eclipsed, here, this word, eclipsed, plot back. Those are high band word score. Sometimes you answer perfectly, write perfectly, but you use simple words. Those simple words do not give you high band score. You might expect that you are going to take 7.5 or 8 or even 8.5 in the writing, but you suddenly find that you took 5.5 or 6. Why? Because you are using low band word scores. Okay, here, if we notice here, artifacts, we have also chief aim, also speaks volumes here. They all give high band word score. And also here we have docents. Also, we have volumes here, reasonable, advantageous, and here in the last paragraph we have also overshadowed, occurring, weighed up, convinced. They all give high band word score. They are really important to increase your points. Okay, let's go back to how to write an essay. Then we will take 2 essays as an example. The first one took 7, and the second one took less than that one, okay? And we'll explain why. Okay, now, let's come here. The introduction, we said, paraphrasing the statement, answering the question, they're writing reasons. Then, we move to the body, which is consisted of 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph is discussing an opinion, and the second paragraph discussing an opposite opinion. The first one, for example, we take the main idea, then We answer the questions how and why of the main idea by writing 2 or 3 sentences. After that, we give an example related to the main idea. And the second paragraph, we do the same thing. Then after that, we move to the conclusion. We write an expression means that this is the conclusion to show them, to make it clearer for the readers, or let's say for the examiners who are going to correct. For example, in conclusion, to conclude, something like that. Then you restate answering the question after by paraphrasing it. After that, we write some expression to restate our opinion. Then we recommend our opinion, what we wrote, with the reasons that we mentioned in the introduction. Okay, it's better to use high band word score. You may find some schedule of high band word score on my Telegram channel. Okay, and I have also some examples for essays. Some of them took 7, some of them took less than 7, and everything there. Okay, let's move on now. I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to share here. Just a second. I'm going to share here. Writing task 2. This is a book 16 activity of Cambridge booklets for the IELTS. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. Many manufactured food and drink products contain high levels of sugar, which causes many health problems. Sugary products should be made more expensive to encourage people to consume less sugar. Do you agree or disagree? That's the test. Let's come here. Let's stop sharing this one. And let's come to the answer of a candidate who took 7. Here. This is an answer written by a candidate who achieved a band 7 score. Today, high levels of sugar are contained in many sources of food, especially in manufactured food. Today, and of course, eating so much sugar is not good for our health. It can cause just a simple cavity, for example, but also worse problems, like the increasing level of sugar in blood. Some people suggest the sugary products should be more expensive, so people would buy less of them. According to me, I think that this solution is not the best one, as sugary products include some types of food that we eat every day, such as bread or pasta. These foods, particularly the first one, are are really important in our diet. So make them more expensive will influence not only our lifestyle, but also some people would not be able anymore to buy the most important food for them. Just think, for example, to poor people who can maybe afford a few loads of bread per day. What would they eat if we increased bread price? I think that the best solution for this problem would be informing people about what they eat, because sometimes we don't even know that. They have already done something to inform people about the characteristics of food, of course, and levels are one of the most important things, as they tell you all the ingredients of a particular food. Yet, not many people spend some of their time reading labels, or if they do it, they probably don't know the biggest part of the substances named in the list. As well, not everybody knows that there is a specific order of the ingredients in the list. So something we could do is organizing some talks to inform people not only about the function of levels, but especially about the big amount of sugar we eat every day. I think as well that this talks should be organized also in schools because also children must be aware of what they eat. Besides, children can tell what they have learned by these conferences of their parents. So the whole family would eat better. To sum it up, I think that it's not necessary to increase the prices of sugary food and that all we need is information that will lead people to eat less sugary food and, as a consequence, live better with less problems. Okay, we have just read a piece of writing written by a candidate who achieved the band of 7. This candidate could have achieved 8 or even 8.5 if he or she just, let's say, covered some mistakes which are written here. They are silly mistakes, ridiculous mistakes. I will mention some of them. I will mention some of them that are written by the examiner's comment here. And also I will add something. Before starting writing the examiner's comment, I want to mention something really important here. This candidate, where wrote the introduction, did not write the opinion here. When you write the introduction, you need to write the opinion by answering the question that is given to you. And the question says, do you agree or disagree about many manufactured food and drink products contain high levels of sugar, which causes many health problems? Sugar products should be made more expensive to encourage people to consume less sugar. Okay, we have some steps to do in the introduction. The first thing is paraphrasing the statement. The second thing, answering the question by giving our opinion with 2 reasons. And this is really important. It will increase your score. The second thing, we have here some mistakes in the grammar for this candidate. Let us read. Let us read the examiner's comment. This is a good response to the question. It does not agree with the statement and it presents a different solution to the problem. There are 4 paragraphs made up of an introduction, a conclusion, and 2 further paragraphs explaining why the candidate disagrees with the statement and then giving an alternative solution. Ideas are logically organized with a range of linking devices to make the response easier to read. Yet, as well, I think as well that as a consequence, but there are some errors. This should have been written as these. And also, there are 386 words in this response, well over the expected 250 words. In this case, the increased word count results in a good range of vocabulary with some flexibility and collocation. Informing people about what they eat, aware of what they eat. Despite some remaining errors, cavity should be cavity, labels should be labels. The response uses a variety of structures. What would they eat if we increase a bread, a price? Despite some errors by these conferences, it should be. Less problems should be fewer problems because problems is countable. Okay? Despite those mistakes, this candidate achieved 7. If this candidate covered those grammatical mistakes, simple grammatical mistakes here, which are mentioned here, this candidate could have taken 7.5. And if that candidate arranged the first paragraph, which is the introduction, well, as we have mentioned, that paraphrasing the statement, writing the opinion by answering the question with the 2 reasons, this candidate could have taken 8 with those grammatical mistakes. With covering the grammatical mistakes and writing and arranging the introduction well, could have taken 8.5. Okay, so we have some simple things which might affect your score. Okay, now let's stop sharing this one, and we are going to take another one for a candidate who achieved a less point. Just a second. Here, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. In their advertising, businesses nowadays usually emphasize that their products are new in some way. Why is this? Do you think it's a positive or negative development? Okay. Uh, let's take an answer written by a candidate who achieved 4.5. Reason why this candidate achieved only 4.5. Here, as you can see in this share. This is an answer written by a candidate who achieved a band 4.5 score. In the advertising, businesses nowadays sometimes stress that their products are new in some way. From my point of view, some businesses want to have good products to give to the people, but usually they worry about their products are newer than some others businesses' products and think it's a negative development because when businesses stress about the quality of their products, sometimes they do something wrong while they are producing them. It's good when the businesses take care of and look after their products, but with a limit. According to some experts, when you take a lot of care of something, you will probably do some things about it wrong. From my own experience, I was trying to make 3 school projects, which my teachers asked me to do. And despite my hard work and because I was stressed about the projects I had to do, I finally failed because I had made a lot of mistakes. To sum up, businesses nowadays should not stress about their products being new in some way. Besides that, they should calm down and be careful on what they are producing. Okay, before going on, reading the examiner's comment, if I would correct this piece of writing, I wouldn't give 4, not 4.5, I wouldn't even give 3.5. Why? The question is asking about advertising and emphasizing the products. Okay? The question says, in the advertising, businesses nowadays usually emphasize that their products are new in some way. Why is this? Do you think it's a positive or negative development? It talks about advertising, but this writing has nothing about advertising. Did not answer the question, did not develop the answer, did not talk about anything, did not say anything about advertising. Let's read the examiner's comment. This response does not really address the requirements of the question. There is a view expressed of the beginning of the second paragraph, a negative development. But mainly, the writer is talking about the quality of products rather than advertising. In the third paragraph, an example is given about an unsuccessful school project, which is not relevant to the question either. This response only touches on the question set and is a tangential response. Ideas are not arranged coherently, that means not linked well, as they do not address the task given. Paragraphing is not helpful and there is a one-sentence paragraph. Vocabulary is not appropriate as it does not focus on the question set. Sentence structure shows a mix of simple and more complex forms with a range of tenses and modal and comparative structures. There are a number of errors, but they do not reduce complication. The problem is that this piece of writing is not related, is not coherent, is irrelevant to the question, to what they want you to write about. And this is a bigger problem if you do that. So please pay attention on what you write. It's really important. Okay, everyone? It's really important. Okay, now, so far we finished talking about writing task 2. We explained briefly how you can achieve a high band score in part 2. What I want you to do, if you can see this one, this piece of writing with the question, let me share the question for you. Okay, I'm going to reshare it in a second. This is the question. This is the question. Here. Here is the question about, there is the question about advertising. And their advertising businesses nowadays usually emphasize that their products are new in some way. Why is this? Do you think it's a positive or negative development? This is the question. Well, and this is the piece of writing written by some candidate who achieved 4.5. If you can rewrite it up to the way that we mentioned, if you can rewrite it and send it to me on the Telegram, please. Okay, so I want you, if you can write, I want you to achieve at least band 6.5 or band 7. If you have any questions, you may contact me on my Telegram account, and do not hesitate asking. I will be answering you within 24 hours after you write the question. That means in less than 24 hours. Okay. If you have any questions now, do not hesitate asking me. Write your question in the comment. We have a question by Yasa Ash-Shahmani, who says, could we use other words instead of sugary food? We usually use sugary food. We may also use food with rich sugar, or rich sugar food is okay, but sugary food is a higher band score use. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Do not hesitate asking. Okay. If you don't have any questions, we come to the end of our lecture for today. That was Mr. Haidar Casseer with you. Thank you very much and wish you all